1861 in Richmond, Virginia, at the heart of the Confederacy, a woman the locals called Crazy Bet wandered the streets, muttering to herself. But what if that madness was just a mask? This is the story of Elizabeth Van Lew, a wealthy abolitionist who played the part of an eccentric to build one of the most effective spy rings of the Civil War. And this is the story of her greatest asset, Mary Jane Richards, a formerly enslaved woman who infiltrated the Confederate White House itself. Together, these two women risked everything to take down the Confederacy from the inside out. Elizabeth Van Lew was born into the very world she would one day help destroy. Born to a wealthy Richmond family, a Northern education hardened her quiet opposition to slavery into a lifelong mission. After her father's death, Elizabeth and her mother worked to free the people their family had enslaved. She used her inheritance to buy and free the relatives of those her family held in bondage. When the drums of war grew louder, she didn't flee her home. She stayed to fight. When Richmond became the Confederate capital, Elizabeth's first mission was at Libby Prison, a warehouse crammed with suffering Union officers. Playing the part of a benevolent woman performing charity, she brought prisoners food and medicine. But these were, in reality, intelligence operations. Newly captured soldiers had fresh information on Confederate troop movements, which Elizabeth smuggled out using hollowed-out eggs and a complex cipher. Her actions drew suspicion and threats, but the pressure only strengthened her resolve. She built an interracial spy ring known as the Richmond Underground. And in 1863, her work caught the attention of the Union Army, and Elizabeth Van Lew, the socialite, became an official spy master for the U.S. government. As her spy ring grew bolder, Elizabeth knew she needed a better disguise. So she crafted an identity so brilliant, it would hide her in plain sight. She became Crazy Bet. She let her appearance go, wearing shabby clothes and wandering the streets muttering to herself. This act of feigned insanity was a masterstroke. Her bizarre behavior made her seem harmless. Confederate officials only saw an eccentric woman, never imagining she was a spy master operating directly under their noses. Elizabeth knew her network still had a blind spot, the nerve center of the Confederacy, the home of President Jefferson Davis. For this mission, she turned to Mary Jane Richards, sometimes known by her married name, Mary Bowser. Born into slavery on Elizabeth's family plantation, Mary was sharp and intelligent. Elizabeth had seen her potential and arranged for her to be educated in the North and even paid for Mary to travel to Liberia in Africa to further her education. Elizabeth's plan was incredibly dangerous. Posing as an unassuming and illiterate servant, Mary would get a job in the Davis household. The racist assumptions of the Confederate elite became her greatest weapon. They saw her as invisible, incapable of understanding the complex strategies discussed or the documents left on desks. While serving meals, she absorbed priceless information and passed it to Elizabeth's network. Jefferson Davis grew paranoid, certain of a leak in his inner circle, but he never suspected the quiet servant in his home. General Ulysses S. Grant himself later said the intelligence he received from Van Lew was the most valuable information received from Richmond during the war. This partnership between a white aristocrat feigning madness and her black ally in the guise of a servant created an intelligence pipeline the Confederacy could never break. When Richmond finally fell in April 1865, Elizabeth Van Lew triumphantly raised an American flag over the city. General Grant visited her and later appointed her postmaster of Richmond, a prominent federal position for a woman at the time. But her post-war life wasn't peaceful. Ostracized by Richmond society, which branded her a traitor, she spent her fortune on her spy work and died nearly penniless. For a long time, Mary's story was almost lost. But in 1995, the U.S. Army posthumously inducted Mary under her married name Bowser into its Military Intelligence Hall of Fame, recognizing her as one of the Civil War's most effective spies. Elizabeth and Mary's stories are a powerful reminder that history is full of quiet heroes who risked everything to reshape a nation. Stay in touch for more hidden stories from the past, and thanks for watching.